Why is it that people on the political left seem to be very sympathetic to Islam? Have you thought about that
I think it's more like anti-Christian. Like, I don't want to be this, like, go crazy.
No, go crazy.
Yeah, they're going, like, it's kind of like this, the current is Christianity to them.
And we just want to throw that off.
Yeah, and there's, like, this misunderstanding
means,
of patriarchy, which is, we can, talk, like, I hated patriarchy because the version of patriarchy in my head was what I grew up with, like, Allah is the master of the Muslim and man is the master of the woman. Like, yeah, as a Christian, you should hate that kind of patriarchy. Right. Like, it's not a good thing in itself. The only reason we, as Catholics, we say patriarchy is good because,
God has set it up that way.
Yeah, like, he did, but it's not like this. He wants this master-slave relationship. No. Like, he tells the man, you need to be like Christ, who died for his church. Right. So it's like a completely different
understanding of patriarchy.
Right. So it's not because, like, well, God set it up that way. There's nothing we can do. Like, as Catholics, we don't have to be in that boat. We're not like a Protestants. Well, it says that in the Bible, so I cannot. Like, that's one of the reasons I had a hard time with Protestants. Like, I understand that, but this sounds like a very unreasonable God to me. Like, but in the Catholic Church, we had the magisterium and the tradition, the philosophical tradition as well, to explain, like, look, man is over woman, not because, we have that kind of, it's necessarily he's, like, much better, holier, or, wise. But it's because, yes, God set it up, but also God told man, like, you need to be like Christ, who's willing to die for your wife and family.
Not lord it over her.
Right. And it's like, yeah, I'll be the woman. It's like, because the man has the worst end of that stick in a way. Like, can you be like Christ? So sacrificing.
Not well, but my wife's not very good at submitting like the church either. So
yeah, because the church has been so good at submitting.
That's what I mean.
It's like 2,000 years of submission. It's going crazy. So, but that's the idea. And then, like, as a wife, because I look at my husband, I don't think that, well, he's just going to dominate me. But
did you experience that? This might be too close to home, but like growing up in your own family or in other Muslim families, was it a negative relationship between husband and wife?
Yes. Again, maybe it's something. I was talking to Cameron earlier. It's like, it's kind of trying to explain the fish that there are places called deserts, that there is no water. Like, Westerners grow up in this idea of equality, human rights, and all that stuff. So here, though my father was here, I'm so glad he doesn't speak English and doesn't listen to my stuff.
Or mine, probably.
Yeah, so my father was here. They stayed with us, like, last month, 3 weeks. So we're, like, talking, chatting. This is, like, my own father. And he says, so he's married to his 4th wife, like, consecutive, not, like, 4 at the same time. Even though he tried, it didn't work. He says, yeah, I need to kind of slap her around a little bit once in a while to get her in line. And I'm like, I just have, I've been so westernized in that sense. Like, so I was kind of appalled. I'm like,
and he meant that.
Yeah, no, he actually does it.
Oh, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. I thought you were kind of joking.
No, yeah, it is.
Because I talk about slapping my wife. I don't actually do it. We joke, because we're.
No, this actually happens. A friend of mine, she was so appalled. She sent me this little video clip. I think I wrote a piece on the register. It was just around the time these Notre Dame kids were going crazy about leggings, and I'm like, what a crazy world we live in. And she sent me this clip from, I think it's like this Qatari man. He has his 12-year-old son, and they put up this video to teach Muslim men how to beat up their wives. And he's showing, like, you can't beat her on the face, and he's kind of slapping. He's like, 12-year-old boy is like
this isn't a parody. This is...
No, so my friend is like appalled. Does this happen? And I'm just laughing so hard. The man is trying to moderate the wife beating. So it's like, no, actually, this is good. He's trying to tell men that don't beat them too hard. Beat them like this, lightly. Does it make sense? And I'm like, here, and this, again, the Notre Dame women are talking about leggings. Way to go, feminists, So yes, it's in there. So, like, when Catholics talk about patriarchy and how it's good, I'm like, it's not good without Christ. Like, it's an awful thing because men are more powerful. Like, if my husband, who is former Marine, 6'2", like, trained in, close combat, He hits me once, I'm dead. Like, I don't think there will be another one. But he would never do it because he'd rather die for me. But if we were Muslims, like, you think I would be coming here talking to Matt Fradd? I don't think so. Does it make sense? So, like, this is why we have to put everything in the light of Christ and his death and sacrifice. And again, this is why I think the Lord put me in America talking about Islam, because, like, look, we need to know the truth about Islam, and it's our duty to spread the faith. When we say, like, oh, we just say we believe in the same God, which, like, I know it says in the catechism, then we're like, hey, they're good there, we're good here, let's live happily. But have you talked to a Muslim woman? I mean, yeah, we see, all these women in the hijab, like the politicians, like their names, I can't remember. But it's not, most Muslim women's experience is not their experience. They say, oh, we choose hijab because we believe, which is all in good. Like, I veil when I go to Latin Mass, okay, I understand that. But do Muslim women in these predominantly Muslim countries have that choice, really? Like...
Yeah, like if you do it in New York City, you're trendy.
Right.
Like, you'd just be like this white Western chick who grew up Christian and then, starts wearing the hijab.
Right.
That's kind of a cool, trendy thing.
Yeah,
but
because it's cool to be Muslim. I'm like, no, go to a Muslim country and see the plight of women. And, like, I was so appalled because I was very anti-Muslim as an atheist, because I thought religion was all shekel. It was the opium of the masses. Like, I was really communist and, And when I come here and they're talking, like, as an atheist, when Westerners talked favorably about Islam, I'm like, do you even know? Like, as an atheist, like, I rejected that because it was so anti-woman. And I come here, like, this is a religion you really need to learn and understand and not, like, turn a blind eye. And then that's what happens in the, like, secular left. Like, we're just not gonna see. These are all extremist people. But that's what it is. Like, what does a radicalized Muslim do? Is my concern. Just like, and it tells me something about Islam. And what does a radicalized Catholic do? You know what happens? A Catholic radicalizes, they become Saint Padre Pio or Saint Mother Teresa.
Well, that might be true, but I could see someone pushing back against that, and they would say, well, the way I define radicalized would be a Catholic bigot who, is mean to his wife and children, says that she ought to submit to him, someone who hates gay people. I guess it depends on how we radicalize.
Well,
but what you're saying, but to be fair to you, I think what you're saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Islam who follows the prescriptions of Islam will end up like that. Whereas if you're a Catholic and you're beating your wife and you're horrible to homosexual people, you're not listening to Jesus. You're not,
right.
Yeah.
I'm talking of the term radical in the sense that, like, you go to the root of it, like radix, that's where it's like you go to the root. You go to the Bible and the church's teaching in Christ. What kind of a person are you going to be as a true follower of Christ? Like, you want to be like, our aim is to be like Christ.
Yeah, read the Beatitudes.
Right.
Yeah.
But a Muslim's aim is to be like Muhammad. So what kind of a person are you going to be when you're just like Muhammad?
Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you will absolutely love the full interview, so click right there to enjoy the whole thing. Also, a big thanks to these groups who made that interview possible. Learn more in the show notes below about these guys. They're absolutely incredible and honored to have them as sponsors. Oh, and also, if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and then that bell button. That way YouTube will be forced to let you know when we put out more content.